Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, welcome on in, everybody. Oh, my goodness, the amount of quarterback highlights or lowlights. No, you know what they do? They show all the highlights. So all of the quarterback
nobody
highlights.
wants to watch their picks and their underthrown balls.
No. Boy, they're showing Shedeur Sanders, and he apparently, according to the ESPN highlights that they just threw together for Shedeur, as they showed some B-rolls, they're talking about him. He had a phenomenal game against BYU in that bowl game, apparently. Just keep repeating
They
that
showed
one
all
throw.
two of the plays he made that were positive.
They keep showing that one throw to Travis Hunter, and Travis Hunter's the one who made that play, man. Anyway, the draft is hilarious, and we are going to laugh our butts off because it is draft coverage day. We've got tons going on here on the program. Steven Sylvester is going to come in between 4 and 6 o'clock. You know what that means? JJ, it's going to be a friggin' party.
Wall-to-wall NFL draft.
That's what we do, man. We have a
Excited.
lot of fun on days like this, getting ready for the NFL draft. Not just the locals, not just the overarching view of the NFL, but everything that we're going to break down is going to be through the lens of Sly, who, of course, does all the homework and gets us all ready for this draft. And look, if somebody's going to get that person who's somebody else or a GM is going to forget about or not really care that much about, or somebody who's gone through the process, somebody from combine to draft to all of that, Sly's going to dip in and give us his expertise on that. Everything good, JJ?
I'm look.
I'm not going to.
If you're watching the stream, Orange Crush, baby.
JJ has decided
my
to
Bo
go.
Nix jersey on.
JJ's decided to go all in on Bo Nix's jersey to
Why
the point
not?
of getting a legit Orange Crush Broncos number 10 jersey. Who was the other? Was there any other previous number 10 in the history of the Broncos that was a good number 10?
No.
No, because I think, but number 10 is a great number. That's a great jersey number. And so if Bo Nix can do it, the problem is that when it's in the Orange Crush jersey, it makes it look like it's throwback enough that it looks like he may have already accomplished some things and he hasn't really accomplished that much.
But throwbacks from the 70s.
It's cool, man. I like it.
Yeah. Manuel Sanders is pretty good. He wore 10, so I'll give him that.
Okay.
Jerry Jeudy, we don't talk about him anymore. So,
but so far not quarterbacks, just wideouts.
Nope, just wideouts and a few other guys. So yeah, Bo Nix owns this number for the Broncos, and hopefully they'll be able to retire it someday.
Well, listen, we've got tons to jump into. I'm sure we're going to get a full breakdown of the Broncos.
Can't
what
wait.
their draft is going to look like. I always love when they go, here are the team's needs. Yeah, like right now. Oh, of course. Yeah, the Vikings need a guard, they need a cornerback, and they need a defensive tackle. Those are all things that every team needs, probably, by the way. And short of, because frankly, we could be partway through the year, and J.J. McCarthy suddenly makes it look like that the Vikings actually needed a quarterback, too, the entire time. You never know. J.J. McCarthy, they're going all in on a guy who was, when did he get hurt? It was during the preseason, right? Or was it during
he never
camp?
played a game.
Never played an actual real regular season game.
When the season started.
And that's when we had the second coming of what's his name? Not Carson Wentz.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, the other redheaded guy. Who is going to, don't say
That's
my
right.
quarterback, okay? I
QB1 in Seattle.
I refuse. Oh, my
Seahawks
goodness.
are going all the way this year.
Yeah, can't wait. All the way to the top of next year's draft.
Well,
That's where we're going.
There's probably better quarterbacks next year, so good for them.
Yeah, you notice
This is not a great draft
You
class
notice
for
I'm not
quarterbacks.
wearing my Seahawks gear. That I didn't bring any of my
You're
Seahawks
lacking
gear in.
enthusiasm.
It's a dark time right now for this franchise. And by the way, the Color Rush jerseys that they wear, I'm actually very much vehemently against. The bright neon green, unwatchable on TV. My kid thinks it's cool, though. So
I don't like the Seahawks neon green. I like the old school Seahawks
You're saying that
colors.
with a straight face while you're wearing highlighter orange, okay? You can't say you
Are
can't
you
have that
saying
attitude.
I'm a hypocrite?
Yes.
I have an opinion on Seattle's jerseys. I like their AFC jerseys, not their NFC jerseys.
Listen, when they bust out the old Steve Largent blue, I'm all for it, man.
That's absolutely
with the old
a little
school,
Dave Craig. Give me some Dave Craig.
Give me the totem.
Give me some Kurt Warner.
Give me the legit totem Seahawk on the sleeve, and I'm all for it.
Some Cortez Kennedy.
Yes, man. Give me the Boz.
The Boz. So that's the kind of Seahawks uniforms
you know what?
I'm talking about. Those are the Seahawks
that's
uniforms
what I'm gonna say,
I like.
That's what I'm going to save up for next time, by the way. I'm going to save up for a Brian Bosworth Seattle Seahawks jersey. And I'm not saying it's one of the belly ones I want too. I want the mesh belly shirt.
Yeah.
Give me that one. Oh my goodness. Okay.
The mesh.
We got lots to get through today. Thanks for being a part of the program. JJ and I bring you this show every day, courtesy of the good folks at G2G Bars. They bring you the program. Awesome protein bar. Give it a shot wherever you find the protein bars in the refrigerated section. That's where you're going to find them because they are dang fresh and they're a local company. We love those guys. Let's kick off with the cut right here. Let's get to the NBA before we start getting too far into the NFL, which is what we're going to do for the vast majority of the show starting at 4 o'clock. So let's get in right here. It's the NBA playoffs. It's the cut right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com for all of your trusted financial needs in retirement. Trajan Wealth. JJ, the NBA playoffs have seen the Lakers even the series with the T-Wolves. Back to the norm, I guess. JJ Redick coming onto the court, saying a few F-bombs. Draymond was saying a few F-bombs last night as well. Everybody dropping F-bombs in the middle of the court, getting picked up on the television microphone, but that's beside the point.
It's that time of year.
Fired up the Lakers. Lakers get the win in Game 2. They're tied up at 1 apiece. The Pacers, and yesterday's conversation we had about Tyrese Halliburton being the most overrated player in the NBA as voted by his peers. That's not a fun one to be voted into, by the way.
No, but what did he do last night?
He had a double-double, and they freaking went to 2-0 over the Bucks now in this series.
I don't understand. Like, it's funny which players in the league get picked on by the other players.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird thing. Who
Never
is
know.
not in the club? So Tyrese Halliburton and Rudy Gobert are not in the club for some reason, but they are good players.
Is Tyrese Halliburton like an awkward dude in his personal life?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because that's kind of what we got
it.
with. That's what it's a little bit what we got with Rudy, right?
Well, Rudy's from France, and he's just different, and it's okay. He doesn't fit the certain mold of NBA guys, and so a lot of guys like him, obviously, Rudy Gobert has nothing in common with Draymond Green, and he should be proud of that.
Yeah.
You can't see those two hanging out, right? That's the essence of this. You don't understand. Like, this is just straight up. Like, these guys bully each other, man. Like, if they see a weakness, and these are the most competitive people on the planet, if they see a weakness in somebody else they're playing against, they will attack it. And that's what Draymond did to Rudy Gobert.
The psychological warfare during games is really fun.
Sir, do people trash talk in the NFL? Certainly. Do you talk?
Oh, yeah.
Is it a thing? Do we think about it? No. But in the NBA, we know all about trash talk on the court in the NBA. It's a thing.
Somebody put together like a supercut of Rajon Rondo when he would play teams, and the opposing team would be at the foul line, and they'd miss a free throw, and he'd walk up and just do the automatic high five. And the players were so mad about it. They were so mad. And they would always miss the second one, too. Because Rajon Rondo was like, I'm going to get in these guys' head in the weirdest, smallest way possible. And you've got yourself quite a set of games now, because as of last night, the Thunder, by the way, have beaten the Grizzlies by a total of 75 points over the first 2 games. Not a bad start for the Thunder.
Isn't that what a 1 seed should do to an 8?
Listen, as a guy who watched my Seahawks, my Sonics lose to Dikembe Mutombo as a 1 seed to an 8 seed, I will tell you, the 8 seed should always be losing like that. And to see the Grizzlies, who are basically like, can we just get this thing over with at this point, right? Isn't that their attitude they're taking?
Yeah,
into
they
this
don't
thing?
have a coach. It's a weird situation.
Do they win one game when they're in Memphis in the next 2 2 games?
It's going to be a sweep.
You don't think so?
No.
Pacers over the Bucks. Thunder over the Grizzlies. The Lakers get their revenge back on the
Lakers
Timberwolves.
Had to have that game.
Yeah, and you know what? What was great about that game is that the Lakers played phenomenal defense. I'm not a huge I always roll my eyes about how good the defense can be and blah blah blah. The Timberwolves, that's their thing. They play really really good defense.
Yep.
Probably number 1 defensive team in the league.
Yes.
However, the Lakers went in and they played better defense than the Timberwolves
Held
did
them
last
to
night.
85 points. which is really impressive. One of the most important plays in that game was a defensive play by a 40-year-old, LeBron James. So the score got down to 9. It was like 2.5 minutes left, 3 minutes. And Luka turned the ball over. And Anthony Edwards has the ball going the other way. He's about to cut it to 7 with 2.5 minutes left. LeBron goes and just takes the ball right away from him, goes down the other end and scores. That was the game. So LeBron James made a defensive play to help the Lakers get that win. Otherwise, if he goes down there and scores and it's a 7-point game with 2.5 minutes left.
A lot of different situations.
Yeah, and then maybe the Lakers start to get a little bit more tight. But LeBron stepped up in a big situation like that. It's still at age 40. He's able to make plays like that in a playoff game. It was pretty phenomenal. The Lakers responded really well. They had to have that game because if they go back to Minnesota down 2-0, that series is over.
Pistons Knicks tomorrow night. Let me see what's going on tonight. You got Magic Celtics tonight. You've got Heats Cavs tonight. You've got Warriors Rockets. Those are your big ones. And, of course, the Rockets are going to try to figure out how to solve the Warriors puzzle. And that puzzle is that they have a ton of experience in the playoffs. And that goes so far. Look, it's one thing to have a lot of games under your belt. Look, the Bucks have a lot of games. Giannis has a bunch of games under his belt, too.
But they're playing a team that's also experienced.
Yes.
Pascal Siakam won an NBA title. Tyrese Halliburton has NBA experience or playoff experience.
So when you look at what that series has become, it's like, hey, and this is why, to your point, you may have made the prediction of the offseason so far because no one's given the Warriors the thought that they're going to go on to the NBA Finals. Let alone, I mean, even the Western Conference Finals sometimes for me is kind of a hard sell for that team. But when you talk about how good the Thunder are right now, that's hard to picture them not just keeping this train rolling. But if they do face a team, even like the Lakers, or even like if they have to face off and play some of these teams who have a lot of experience in the postseason, what is SGA going to do? I think it's a different story between Oklahoma City than it is to Houston. Houston's definitely not ready for this stage yet.
I agree with that. Houston's where the Thunder were last year, and maybe not even quite there yet. They had a phenomenal regular season, 52 wins. But there's only 4 games in the standings that separate the 2nd seed Houston Rockets and the 7th seed Golden State Warriors. It's not like there's a normal 2 versus 7 gap.
Right.
It's 4 games. And you got to give the Rockets credit for putting themselves in this position. But are they 4 games better than the Golden State Warriors? Absolutely not. And you saw that in Game 1 with the Warriors winning on the road by 10. And the Rockets are now up against the ropes tonight. Similar situation the Lakers were in where they dropped one at home. The Rockets have got to get one tonight or I think that series is over.
With the Cavs and the Heat in that series, and speaking of teams that have, I don't know what to think about this Cavs team in the postseason because you've got a 60-plus win Celtics team who's your 2 seed in the East, and you've got a 64-win team in the Cavaliers who were your overall number 1 seed. But the reality is that are you getting a version of the Cavs? I mean, obviously not against the Heat, but are you going to get a version of the Cavs that they come up short because they have so much inexperience, I guess, in the playoffs? Same type of thing. I mean, can you look at a guy like Donovan Mitchell and say, yeah, he's really inexperienced? He's got himself, he's got under his belt a handful of playoff runs, and while they didn't go very far, he still has that ability to kind of, get into a game. And I think that a postseason, what does it require for somebody to beat this Celtics team? You know what I mean? Everybody's already crowning this team out of the East, not just to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and to win the Eastern Conference Finals, but to win the NBA title. We saw the player poll yesterday, JJ, that put him at what? A 60% chance.
It's an overwhelming majority of NBA players believe the Celtics are going to win it again.
So teams, players across the league, and the anonymous poll said the Celtics are going to run away with this thing, and they say the Thunder aren't ready for it. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I don't know why the Celtics are considered so unbeatable when it comes to the finals. You tell me why we're supposed to be so.
Look at their starting lineup. Read off their starting lineup. I'll do it right now. You look at the Celtics and you look at their starting lineup, and now they're a little bit banged up. Jason Tatum, we're going to wait and see what the deal is with that. But if you look at the talent that the Celtics roll out there as their starters, I mean, you got Jason Tatum, who's a phenomenal player, one of the best in the league. Jaylen Brown, who's like the Robin to his Batman, but it's like Jason Tatum's their 1 and Jaylen Brown's a 1A. Jaylen Brown's really, really good. Yep. And on top of that, you got Drew Holiday, who's a champion, multiple champion.
Also one of the best defenders in the league.
One of the best defensive guards in the league. And then you're running out Kristaps Porzingis, who injuries have derailed his career to an extent, but when he is 100% healthy, he is a unicorn. Mm-hmm. He's a problem. And then you throw Derek White in there, who was one of the most underrated players in that NBA player poll.
And then
Derek
they just got
White.
That's
their starters,
right?
Alex.
They just got the sixth man of the year in Peyton Pritchard too. So
and Al Horford,
not bad.
Who's a well-seasoned player. And you've got a lot of nice guys off the bench. Sam Hauser can come in and knock down threes. They got guys they can throw out there that can really make it happen. So, I mean, you look at their starting five. That answers your question. Who boasts a starting five that good outside of them? Well, one team that thinks they do is probably the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? And that's what's going to be interesting if we finally get to – well, last year we saw it, and the Cavs were not ready. They lost the semifinals to the Celtics 4-1. Are the Cavs better prepared now with some of the depth that they have, which I think is key for them? You look at their depth, and that might be what the Cavs need to beat the Celtics. I look at their starting lineup, and it's pretty good. You've got Evan Mobley, who's now an All-Star, Jared Allen, who has been an All-Star, Darius Garland, who's right there as an All-Star, Donovan Mitchell, and Max Strus. That's a really, really good starting lineup. Max Strus obviously has won a lot of games and played in a lot of big playoff games with the Miami Heat. And then you look at their bench. I mean, DeAndre Hunter's a really good player. They got him in that Hawks trade. That was an excellent pickup. Sam Merrill gave him 24 minutes the other night. He's a great three-point shooter. He can make big shots for them. And Ty Jerome was in the Sixth Man of the Year award voting, and he's been tremendous this year. So, and they like Isaac Okoro, who comes off the bench and plays defense. So their depth, they hope and believe, is the difference when they play the Celtics. I don't know. I look forward to seeing it if it happens.
Let me looking on the Western side. We were just talking about rosters. So the Warriors have this starting lineup of Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond, and then probably Moses Moody and Brandon Pajemski.
Yeah.
That's Buddy Hield comes in. Gary Payton II also comes in, kind of those two spots there. But obviously with Butler, Draymond, and Steph Curry, you've got multiple championships in there and guys who know how to win. Is that good enough to be able to get? Is a roster with those three old dudes on it good enough to get to not just the Western Conference Finals, but to maybe even make a push against the Celtics in an NBA Finals? If the Thunder aren't those teams, isn't that team?
It's a great question, and obviously I've come on the radio here in the last week and I said the Warriors can get to the finals because I believe that those three guys, and you throw in a Brandon Pajemski, who's a nice young player who gives you a lot of nice numbers, can kind of be that fourth guy. And Kevon Looney's still coming off the bench, giving him good minutes. Doesn't score, obviously, but he does a lot of good things for them. Gary Payton II is a dude. Buddy Hield's a good shooter. So they've got some guys. They don't have the depth of the teams I just talked about.
Yeah.
I don't think they can win the NBA title. I think they can get to the finals in the West because Steph is still playing at an elite level, because Draymond knows how to play, because Jimmy Butler is one of the best post-season players we've seen in this generation. For him to get those Miami Heat teams to the finals, I just can't believe it. I just, the way he played and the way he is such a force in the playoffs, postseason basketball is well suited to him. I just don't know if they have enough depth to be able to beat a Celtics team or a Cavs team if they were able to beat the Celtics. And I'm wondering, how do they fare against the depth of an Oklahoma City Thunder team? That's a great question, and the Thunder are the one seed for a reason. They had a phenomenal regular season for a reason. I'm just not sure if they have the veteran savvy and the playoff experience that would be needed to put away a Golden State Warriors team or even a Timberwolves team at this point, depending on who they end up facing in that conference final. I do think the Thunder do get to the conference final. I like the Clippers to finish off the Nuggets in this series, especially if Kawhi's going to play the way he did in Game 2. But I think that the Warriors can beat the Thunder if Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond are at their best in that series.
You know whose championship window has been slammed shut? And I'm saying that with even still having one of the best guys on the entire planet on that roster. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
That championship
Isn't that weird?
window is absolutely shut.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to figure out a way to build back.
They're not getting past the first round this year.
To build it back up around Giannis. I mean, obviously.
What do they do?
No idea, because I think we looked at his
Giannis
numbers.
is going to make $70 million next
it's
year.
like 80 at the end of his career, right? At the end of this contract, I mean. That's bonkers.
They really miss Drew Holiday.
Ugh.
They really miss him.
What a
They had no
move.
choice. They were cash. They were in cap hell, and
Yeah.
they've had to do some things. And the Damian Lillard thing hasn't worked out the way they had hoped. They're going to lose this series of the Pacers, and then if that's the team you get to look out for, because that's a team that could blow it up.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have, the breaking news from the, I guess it's not breaking news, but today's big news, of course, was the retirement of one of the biggest stars in college basketball history here locally, and we'll chat about that coming up around the corner. And we've got much more to get to at the top of the hour. Of course, Sly's going to join us. I've got a really, really fun Would You Rather for JJ coming up in just a little while as well. You don't want to miss any of today. We're going to have tons of fun here in the studio. You can stream it on our YouTube page, the KSL Sports YouTube page. You can also stream it online at KSLSports.com. Sly will be in studio. He'll have a camera on him, so we'll have this you'll have this awesome setup of JJ's insanely ridiculous orange. Have you seen it on the camera? Is it
How does that pop on film?
is my face orange just being this close to him?
It is, yes.
Okay, good. I wanted to look a little bit like fake tanned. I wanted
Craving an orange sickle right now?
Yes, I am. We'll take
Craving
that
an orange
break.
creamy?
We'll come back. We got more to go. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
But Zeppelin bringing you back. Nice. I like it. Happy pre-draft day. It's NFL Draft Eve. That's a holiday. We celebrate it. And God bless you to those who are also observing NFL Draft Eve. And we hope that you take tomorrow off. And look, you know what? Take Friday off too. Boom. I just gave it to you. Might as well. By the way, on Friday, JJ and I are going to be out on the road from 3 to 6 at Providence Hall Charter School, a tuition-free public charter serving grades K through 12. Going to be out there in Harriman, 4557 West Patriot Ridge Drive in Harriman. Come join us out there. Going to be a fun day to get to know the school a little bit and see what they're doing out there. And, boy, one thing they're focusing on is athletics, too. So come on, check it out. Let's do it. BYU legend Jimmer Fredette announces retirement from pro basketball. There you go, JJ. There's the big news from the day.
End of an era.
I remember doing this was running up to the San Diego State BYU game, that 2011 season, when they came here to Provo.
Yeah.
And I was doing some bit for TV where I was going into the tents of the students who were camped outside, which, by the way, was a very disturbing
The smells.
The smells alone were I remember just like I climbed into these tents and I was like, this will be a great bit for TV. And I remember climbing in and regretting it immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Just like that. When somebody's sleeping bag gets
is
touched.
this old
it's like,
pizza or something else?
oh man. But you know what? It was a moment that encapsulated Jimmermania to the extent that it felt like, okay, this is a great capture of students and the insanity of what Jimmermania was, because even while we were in the middle of covering it, even while we were in the middle of watching it happen, you still didn't realize we couldn't believe how big it was. I can't believe this is in our library.
Oh, this is a vibe.
Come on.
Did they have Spotify in 2011? I don't remember.
Did you rip this off LimeWire? What happened? How did we get this?
LimeWire.
Oh, my goodness.
Man.
Yeah. Teach me how to Jimmer.
That was a wild time.
Look, BYU basketball this last year was phenomenal, right?
It felt similar to that.
Very similar.
Not in the sense it was about one player.
That's
this year was
the thing.
about the whole program. But you and I covered Jimmermania,
It was crazy.
and I had never been a part of anything like that. What it did is it gave us a glimpse here in Utah of what it was like to be a part of big-time college basketball. This is what it's like at Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina all the time. We felt that for a period of 6 months back in 2011. It was wild. It was a wild ride.
bonkers. It was bonkers because winning the Naismith is crazy. Like to have that type of attention, because even just to win the Naismith in an era when everything just stays east of the Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like that?
Yeah, outside of UCLA or Arizona,
Right.
Nobody out west really had an idea of what big-time college basketball felt like.
Right. And so I think that,
Gonzaga
obviously,
now you could add to that list.
of all the things that he did, when you looked at what we got to watch quite a bit of what this guy did in his pro career, and obviously he went as a lottery pick to the Kings and didn't pan out. By the way, has carved out quite the financial boon for himself and Whitney and their family over in China. Like,
he played 5-6 years in the league.
Don't weep for the man financially.
And then went and made a fortune in China.
Yes.
He had a great, I know he didn't achieve the NBA success, so it's easy to call him a bust, but there's plenty of first-round draft picks that don't even make it to 5 years, and then he was able to do really well for himself overseas, which is what, honestly, 2/3 of the first round end up doing anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So,
ask Travis Hansen if that new house down there in Utah County
how did J.C. Carroll do?
Not bad.
As a professional athlete.
Not bad.
Didn't play a minute in the NBA, but carved himself a really nice legacy over at Real Madrid, and he is a legend over there.
I was also up at the Huntsman Center when Jimmer at the end of that first half threw up that half-court shot.
Yeah, I was there covering that game.
I've never heard a place, even though there were obviously BYU fans in the building, I've never heard the air get sucked out of a building like that.
So
the
Utah fans just didn't know how the air was sucked out of the Utah fans.
Wasn't,
the BYU fans were just so in shock about how incredible he was that night.
It was wild
that they didn't. You got to the point where he made that shot before the halftime buzzer. You're like, what are we watching here? This is insane. He can't miss.
He had a 75-point game when he was in China with the Shanghai Sharks. My kid at one point asked me if we could get a Shanghai Sharks jersey, and I promptly said no. Not because I was like, come on, man.
Why not?
I'm not going to get you a Jimmer Shanghai Sharks jersey, and now I regret it.
I would love to have one of those. That'd be pretty cool.
What I do know is that they could still produce it. Look, it's got to be on Temu somewhere. So,
well, yeah, that's a good point. You've got plenty overseas.
You've got so he had 49 points against the Arizona Wildcats when he was in college. That was a big one, of course, at the McHale Center down there. The Olympics with the Team USA 3-on-3 team, and they were like beyond the number one team in the world. And then they went in and
he got hurt,
and it was a bit of a air out of the building situation for that team that underperformed there at the Olympics. But I will tell you too, because we chatted with him last year at Media Days. Remember, he stopped by the booth because he was going on his way from Vegas. Team USA was there in Vegas doing their training stuff, and then he was going to hit the road to Paris like the very next day, kind of a thing. I've interviewed Jimmer, I guess, 5 or 6 times in my career. He's never been one to say no, I can't do it or whatever. He's always been an awesome interview. He's always given his time. He's always been very cool about understanding, and also like the most chilled out, like. I mean, for a person who had a movement named after him, Jimmer Mania, he was always like the most chilled out dude on the planet. My kids got to go to a thing down in Provo at Riverside one time when he was down there and he was signing stuff and he took time out, and he was always been a pretty gracious dude. So pretty hard to not like a guy who is a nice guy on top of the fact that he's one of the best basketball players I've ever seen in person in my entire life, and that's even the pros that I'm talking about. Nobody took over games like that, like I'd ever seen before. And when you're like, he's not going to keep making shots like this, and he would actually just keep getting better and better, and they would all still go down, it seemed like. It was pretty wild. So
yeah, it was a special time, and it was a phenomenon for sure. But what I think the best tribute I could give to Jimmer is the fact that through it all, he just continued to be himself and stay true to his values and who he was. He got a lot of hate.
Oh, yeah.
He got a lot of hate. And a lot of people listening here right now are probably like, yeah, you know what? I hated him because he beat us. I didn't hate him because of him. But still, like, he took a lot of heat and a lot of hate. And there was just so much, I don't know what you want to call it, jealousy or whatever. He never changed who he was despite the love or the hate, despite the attention, overwhelming attention he got. I don't know that it was always comfortable for him, but he was always willing to do what he needed to do or was asked to do when it came to interviews or media responsibilities or the demands of what he was asked to do. I know he's done a lot of good in our community, so much good that we don't even know about or could even mention. People he's uplifted and met with and inspired. And ultimately, through everything he went through, whether you liked him or you didn't like him, which is dumb, but there was plenty that didn't, he never forgot who he was. He never forgot the people that really mattered to him. And he always maintained who he was throughout all of it. He's one of the nicest, good, pure human beings I've ever covered from an athletic standpoint. He never changed from the time that I first started interviewing him, was he a freshman at BYU, to the time we spoke to him last summer. It's like, hey, it's Jimmer. He has not changed one bit. He's the same. And that's a tribute to him that throughout all of that, he maintained who he was and what his values were.
It's a pretty remarkable career because it was one that didn't live up to a lot of the, from the on the paper hype that
How
he
could
got.
it have at the NBA level?
Yeah.
How could it have? How could he have continued to have 40-point games in the NBA level?
Well, I think
it wasn't
there are guys,
realistic.
Listen, I think there are guys like Peyton Pritchard who just won the Sixth Man of the Year that you look at and you go, oh, very similar game in the sense of throws up a million threes. Did he have a 40-point game this year?
He
I think
did actually. Yeah, I remember him and Derek White had him on the
because he made
him and
10,
Derek White had 40-point games in the same game.
And he had 10 or 11 threes in that game.
He made
or something
10
like
threes.
that.
Yeah.
So that's the type of thing that I think that a lot of people looked at and go, well, just do that. And it's like, wow, this level is so difficult, and it's hard to predict who's going to be extremely good at the next level.
And you got to be able to play both ways in the NBA.
Yes, that was a big knock, right? The defense.
And these are the best athletes in the world. 450 players in the NBA, in the entire planet. Only 450 people are good enough to play in that league.
You can knock the NBA for a lot, but I think from an athletic standpoint, nobody argues with the fact that those are the best athletes in the world, right?
I don't. I've covered everything. It's basketball is the most incredible athletes. The freak athletes are all in the NBA.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have a Would You Rather. This will get us started on some of our NFL draft coverage because it's a draft-centric type of a list that JJ's going to have to go through. It's going to be a Would You Rather, unlike any other we've had so far this year. So stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody! Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Welcome back to JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. JJ's going to have a hard time being straight down the middle on this next list I'm about to ask him about here. The next Would You Rather, okay? I'm going to roll out a couple things here. Now, we get super negative when it comes to draft time. We love talking about the busts, right? But if you were to look at the number one overall picks over what is now, this will be the 53rd time that they have had a draft in the modern era, so to speak, of the NFL. And out of the 52 that have come previously, there's only one number one overall pick, obviously, every year. And out of those 52, it's a pretty dang good list of very, very good players. But there's also a good handful that you go, oh boy. And there's also a select few that you're like, oh my gosh, Jamarcus Russell. Right. Where you're like, I cannot believe that they took that guy. I can't believe we didn't see it. Usually the number one overall pick, you kind of go, at the very least from a PR standpoint, teams are like, look, everybody says you got to take him, so we probably should take this quarterback or whomever. A lot of teams get pushed into that, and it's not a lot of question who's going to be the number one overall pick this year. I think the consensus is because the Titans said they're not going to trade their number one, or they're not going to trade that pick away. They're probably going to take Cam Ward.
Lock it in. The Browns have already told Travis Hunter he'll be the second pick.
And most years, the number one overall pick tends to be not just, a really, really good player in college. They're also the guy that we kind of all look at and go, yeah, he probably deserves that, right? But it's just about whether or not you're going to get a sure thing. So this Would You Rather, JJ, is, first of all, it's going to go the positive. So these are the person who you want on your team that you're going to build around.
Okay. Number
Number one overall picks all time in the NFL. Okay. This is going to be a tough one for you to pick, I think. All right. Andrew Luck or Cam Newton?
I'm going to go Cam Newton.
Cam Newton or Matthew Stafford?
Stafford.
Matthew Stafford or Eli Manning?
Stafford.
We're all quarterbacks at this point.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford or Ed Too Tall Jones? He was a phenomenal player, by the way.
Ed Too Tall Jones won Super Bowls with
Yes,
the Cowboys.
he did.
That's a really tough one, actually, because I know my history there. I'm going to still go with Stafford.
Stafford or Orlando Pace?
Stafford, but Pace was an all-time great.
Orlando Pace or, let's see here, or Michael Vick?
Oh, man. Stafford or Vick? Stafford won a Super Bowl, so I'm going to stick with Stafford.
Okay, Stafford or Earl Campbell?
Earl Campbell.
Oh, see, the history got you there.
Yep, it did.
Just
Sorry.
a
Earl
pin-
Campbell is one of the most dominant running backs we've ever seen.
And that's why I only use Copenhagen. Remember, as a kid growing up in Texas.
Oh, yeah, no, he
used to do the Copenhagen commercials on TV.
That was one of his big endorsements.
Just a pinch of too much he can gum. I'm like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing?
Just go, if you young'uns like Alex in their studio here, go on YouTube, look up Earl Campbell. Watch him running while someone tears his jersey off his body and he doesn't stop.
It's amazing. Okay, so Earl Campbell or O.J. Simpson? Put aside the double murder situation.
Just ignore all the off-the-field stuff.
I'll just call it off the field stuff.
I'm gonna do.
Hey, he just passed away this year, JJ. How dare you?
I'm gonna do the safe thing here. I'm gonna take Earl Campbell.
Okay, it's the safe thing.
Hey, if it does not fit, you must acquit.
Okay.
He's looking for the killer on the other side of the veil.
Earl Campbell or Troy Aikman?
Earl Campbell.
Troy Aikman? I mean Earl Campbell or John Elway?
John Elway.
Oh. John Elway
now
or...
Now you're going to make me do like a Sophie's Choice. Here we go. Here's Sophie's Choice.
And not yet.
Okay.
John Elway or Terry Bradshaw?
John Elway. Terry Bradshaw won 4 titles with the Steelers, but John Elway was much better than Terry Bradshaw.
John Elway.
If John Elway had the Steelers defense, John Elway would have won 4 Super Bowls.
I love those ifs. Yeah.
Well, if Terry Bradshaw was drafted by the Bengals instead of the Steelers.
And if my grandmother was a bicycle, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. There's a lot of ifs and ands in there. Come on, man. And then the final one that you're going to have to choose between, because they both brought championships to your fared franchise. John Elway or Peyton Manning? Oh!
You gave me the Sophie's Choice.
I did. Got to do it.
I'm going to go John Elway, but
okay.
It hurts. It hurts. Hey, he didn't even throw he wasn't the number one overall pick.
That was the thing.
Well, Peyton Manning wasn't either.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
No. Was he?
Yeah,
yes, he was.
No, he was. He got second in the Heisman voting.
He was first. Yeah, you're right.
So he won the real award.
Right. That's right.
Being the number one overall pick.
No, I'm gonna go.
That's a great question. Number one overall pick or the Heisman Trophy, JJ?
Heisman Trophy.
Because the Heisman Trophy, who won it that year? It was Charles.
Was Charles Woodson win
Charles
it there?
Woodson.
Yeah.
What number did Charles Woodson go in that draft? And now I'm talking rookie scale years. I'm talking rookie scale stuff.
What was it?
It's very different. I don't know. Hey, Alex, you remember who Charles Woodson was? Okay. I want to see his draft, what he was. So he was the 4th overall pick. So still pretty good on the rookie scale of these days, right? Well, Heisman Trophy and 4th overall pick, or second in Heisman voting and the number 1 overall pick. I'm going to take the latter. Charles Woodson can keep that Heisman Trophy. I'm going to take my rookie scale number 1 overall pick. Let's go. I'm all about the money. You know that about me.
Oh, you are for sure.
I'm a total sucker. There's some other guys. Other people who are not mentioned of our ranking of the best number 1 overall picks. Bruce Smith.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Widely considered one of the top 3 or 4. Let me see here. In terms of quarterbacks, I rolled out Andrew Luck, but Drew Bledsoe was also a number 1 overall pick at one point. Was
Jim Plunkett?
Yes. Carson Palmer was also. Alex Smith, of course, here locally has that same distinction. Vinny Testaverde also a quarterback who got that number 1 overall pick. Keyshawn Johnson was the number 1 overall pick.
Yes, he was.
Now this one may have actually been now his pro career as a football player didn't necessarily the numbers aren't insane, but Bo Jackson was a number 1 overall pick. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He was a baseball all-star. But again, that doesn't help you. Russ Maryland, he was number 1 overall. Oh, Jared Goff was number 1 overall.
That's right.
What's his name? Burrow was the number 1 overall.
Joe Burrow was, yes.
That's a really good question. So was Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
So not Jason Garrett, Myles Garrett. Jason Garrett was a redheaded Princeton backup quarterback. Sorry.
Big difference.
Get my Garretts mixed up.
Don't mix up that one. Don't make that mistake.
Let me see. What's the difference here? Hi, I'm Jason Garrett. Redheaded Princeton quarterback.
I thought we got Myles Garrett.
I thought we got Myles Garrett. How dare you? All right. We got lots to go through still. Now, that's a fun list, though. Baker Mayfield was a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
That worked out.
It's crazy, his circle.
Oh, Tim Couch.
Oh,
Tim Couch is the number 1 overall pick. All right. We'll take the break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. And when I say more to go, I mean 4 to 6 right here. We're going to keep you dialed in because we're going to have draft coverage and we're going to get you some draft predictions. We're going to get you some draft breakdowns. Sly going to join us next, so stay right here with us. Want to mention also, by the way, do you believe in karma? Log on to KSLSports.com. We'll help raise money for an awesome cause and some good vibes, obviously, going towards the Jazz. The KSL Sports 2-for-1. You donate $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. It's all part of the pickup of the good karma, good vibes, whatever you want to call it, to be able to get that number 1 overall pick here to the state of Utah. So go to KSLSports.com/contest. No, just click on the main page there. You've got you can donate those $2. By the way, you can donate more if you want, but that's just me saying that. All right, stay with us. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.